Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to two meetings. The first one we will have is the public hearing with respect to the proposed 2026, 2027 budget. I'm calling the meeting to order just after 6:30. Let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Okay,
John, share the budget.
so I'll start by calling the roll. Deputy Mayor Lindsay,
Present.
Trustee Matt Tenari,
Present.
Trustee Josh Scherer, not present at the moment. We expect him some point, and Trustee Jedediah Turner will be absent tonight. So the first thing I have to do is reread the notice of public hearing with respect to the budget. So let me do that. This was a notice that was published. Please take notice that the preliminary budget for the Village of Tuxedo Park for the fiscal year commencing June 1st, 2026 and ending May 31st, 2027 has been filed in the office of the village clerk, and the Board of Trustees of the Village of Tuxedo Park will hold a public hearing to consider such budget on Thursday, April 16, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. The public hearing will be held at Village Hall, 80 Lorelei Road, Tuxedo Park, New York, 10987, broadcast via Zoom. The Zoom information can be obtained on the village website. All persons interested shall be given the opportunity to be heard. Please take further notice that as per state law, the public hearing was actually opened on April 15th. It was opened on April 9th because it had to be by state law opened on April 15th. So we met on Thursday, April 9th at 2026 at 7 p.m. to formally open the public hearing. It was a pro forma hearing. There was no discussion. There was no presentation. And it was understood that tonight would be the night when we would have substantive discussions regarding the budget. So that being said, that takes care of the public notice. First resolution, since we opened it last week, be it resolved to continue the public hearing on the preliminary budget for the Village of Tuxedo Park for the fiscal year commencing June 1st, 2026, ending May 31st, 2027. Do I have a second on that motion?
Second.
Second by the Deputy Mayor. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Very good. So the public hearing is now opened, and before the public has a chance to either comment, ask questions, or make suggestions, the Deputy Mayor, who is also the Budget Director and has been working so long and hard on this budget and put in many, many hours and has done a tremendous job, has the first word in terms of introduction.
Okay, thanks. All right, so this preliminary budget, John is going to pull it up and share it with you. It's been carefully prepared with the help of many people, the chief and Denise, Jeff Voss, Elizabeth, John Ledwith, the mayor, Trustee Tenari, Trustee Scherer, and Jim Hayes actually also helped us with our lake management and stormwater budgets. So we expect that there will likely be some minor adjustments after we hear from the public and before we send the final budget up to the state. You'll see in our budget this coming year, we plan to continue our investment in village infrastructure, especially buildings and roads, with needed improvements that are overdue. We will use grant funds received for clean energy projects. This year that we're just finishing up, we replaced the culvert and bridge on West Lake Road, and we worked on Pond 3 Dam and Bridge. In May, this coming May, next month, the DPW will start road paving and drainage improvements. We have projects mapping the stormwater drainage that's underway. And you'll be hearing more about water main projects, which are not in consideration with this budget, but those projects are out for bid right now, and we expect to receive those bids in mid-May with construction starting in June. Have I forgotten any other major projects?
No, I think you gave a great summary.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
So the property tax levy this year is at the tax cap. We have been able to reduce appropriations from fund balance at a lower level than last year. And the tax rate increase is 2.9144%. So for a $10,000 tax bill, you would see about a $290 increase. So we will also, as part of this budget, you'll see there's some budgeting for interest on new debt. We will be issuing a bond this fall to cover the expenses we have already incurred for the Pond 3 Dam and bridge work. And so I'll see if anybody has any other questions.
Fine. We will open the floor to anyone in the room who has any questions or comments or suggestions with respect to the budget that was posted on the website. Hard copies are available here in the room. Anybody in the room have any comments, suggestions, or anything anybody want to say? Seeing none, I'll turn to Zoom. Is there anyone on this Zoom call who has any comments, questions, suggestions with respect to the tentative budget as it now stands? Please raise your hand. Okay, seeing none.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna share the budget to give you a second chance to look through it if you haven't had the chance to see it on the website. Here it is on Zoom.
We can leave it up there for a bit and see if
Okay.
people have questions.
Well, it's one page at a time, though.
Yes.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
not really the full budget.
No.
You can only show one page at a time. So what we're going to do now is, because the regular meeting is not scheduled for 7, we're going to essentially leave this meeting open.
Okay.
In the
that
event
makes sense.
someone should arrive late, or give the public the opportunity to join, because just before 7, we will close the public hearing. Just for the record, we will not be voting on the budget tonight. We'll be doing additional work and adjustments, and we have scheduled a special meeting of the board for next Thursday, a week from today, when we will consider the final budget and vote on the final budget and the final numbers. And of course, the public will be welcome either on Zoom or in person for that meeting, which will be limited to an up or down vote on the proposed budget. So at this point in time, unless more people join, everyone can relax, and we will just be here until maybe 5 minutes to 7, when we'll close the public hearing.
You might want to note that if you look at the property tax levy, the 1001A, in 2022, 2023, the levy was 3,746,000. 4 years now, later, it's 3,844,000. So it's about $97,000 higher than it was 4 years ago. But if you look at appropriations, it's 895,000 higher in appropriations due to inflationary pressures, increases in employee benefits, and of course, some of that is our infrastructure projects.
A lot of it is our infrastructure projects. Yeah. We signed a new police contract in the end of last year, providing for a 3% increase every year for the next 5 years. So our actual tax increase is slightly under that amount. Slightly under that amount.
Yeah.
But everything becomes more expensive. As we all know, affordability is the word around town these days, and it's all something we all have to deal with individually, and also as members of the Board of Trustees, as all the residents know as well, and have to deal with it in their own way. So I think you did a great job on this budget. I know it took a lot of time, and we look forward to a positive vote a week from today.
Okay.
Thank you. So you think you'll be able to be here Thursday?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'll ask the other guys. Yeah. We just need a third person because it's sort of pro forma. I gotta have three in the box. Same number of people online, John? No new entrants?
Correct.
Okay.
Just the TPFYI, Elizabeth. That's a,
Oh, but what about Joanne? Joanne
Oh,
Hanson?
Joanne Hanson, yeah.
She was on too.
not on any longer.
Okay,
Oh,
all right. She'll come back.
Budget scared away.
that's right. Well, most people will see less than $300 increase.
Yeah,
Well, $10,000, you see the $10,000 tax bill.
If you have a
We don't have a I don't have a $10,000.
yeah,
tax, so
that's what I'm
maybe-
saying.
must be nice.
Yes,
Yeah,
must be
you-
nice, yes.
Castle in the sky. Yeah.
And thank you, Chief, for coming back with some shaving on the expenses.
Michelle, did you say Andrew's coming?
He's gonna be on at 7.
Oh, he's joining.
Yeah, join, yeah.
When he joins, we'll take him first.
So who's gonna discuss the Ford Lightning?
The Ford?
Yeah,
Oh,
oh,
that's
Josh.
Josh supposed, this is.
Oh, he is coming.
Yeah, he's supposed to be here. He's supposed to be here for the budget hearing, but that's his project.
No, I thought his analysis.
You read his analysis?
Yeah.
Yeah, I read it too.
You like it? You agree?
I think so.
Oh, I
If-
guess I'm the only no vote.
If the
Why shouldn't
if the equipment works for
Oh,
what
yeah,
we need,
that's-
I don't know what like the problem we were solving, but
Well, we need a new truck.
oh, that's okay.
Well, we
Yeah.
need a new vehicle. And
Right.
that vehicle could be, John suggested, and I thought it was a very interesting suggestion. We can talk about it now. It's a public matter. Plumbing companies drive around with commercial vans. And the cost of a commercial van would be half of the cost of a brand new F-150 Lightning. And I know that there's concerns about, green energy but at the same time, the question becomes whether it's really worth it in the long term to invest in a Ford F-150 EV. And I'm not so sure it is. So I have my concerns about that. And the chief is,
We looked at that F-150 for a police vehicle.
yeah,
And one of the mechanics at Ford kind of told me, he says, if you're loading it up with stuff, he said it just takes it right down.
and
He's-
does
And
it?
in the Northeast, still this area, he still kind of gave it like a kind of a thumbs down, which I was surprised, but now I think Ford, they stopped making it for, at least when I think they stopped production of it. That, like, pickup,
What's that?
they stopped production of it, I think.
Of the pickup, of the F-150 EV pickup
Yeah,
for police or just for the general populace?
I think maybe both. They stopped it. Wasn't doing.
I mean, it is a $50,000 purchase, right? Is that what the number was?
Brand new,
Under.
Brand-
Oh,
brand
brand
new.
new,
Brand new,
yeah.
it's a $50,000 purchase, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they were even way more than that.
Yeah,
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they just weren't, just guys, they were just not too happy with it up here in the winter, draining very quickly the battery.
Mhm.
I said not like the Tesla and stuff was, but of course they don't make a truck like that, so it had a lot more range time and everything that Tesla was able to fit up here.
okay.
Even if they don't have that much mileage per year, you think, or,
Yeah, I don't know, I'm right, I don't really drive anywhere here. It's just,
yeah, it's just around the village.
I don't know.
mean, my Tesla X works amazing still in the winter. And it's 5,500 pounds or whatever it is. It's not it's a very heavy, it's the big one.
Oh, yeah.
And it works very well.
I said the Ford battery to the Tesla.
Yeah, I don't know what's the battery situation might be different, but.
Night and day.
That's
Oh, well, there you go.
I'm
I think we
asking
have to-
AI
I
right
think
now.
we have to explore this after
Yeah.
Josh's presentation to find out if it's what we really need. Well, there's another opinion.
Not heavy enough.
For what John needs it for? Okay,
It's not heavy enough.
Not heavy duty enough. We need one with a, have to have a utility body on it with compartments. It's not, it's a pleasure vehicle, it's not a work vehicle.
well, we'll certainly have to have that discussion.
Yeah.
I mean, the presentation, I looked at it today, I mean, it looks good, but you're comparing an EV to an F-150, which I don't need an F-150 either. I need an F-350. I need the
Is that what John has today?
Well, that's what he had.
what he had.
That's what he had until it failed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a nice thought. We want to be environmentally conscious, but it has to be able to perform
Yeah.
the duties of.
And I agree. I mean, it's just not practical for what we do, what we need.
Well, let me ask you this. So John and I had a conversation. This is all on the public record. It's fine. Plumbing companies drive around with commercial vans.
Yeah.
All right. Is a commercial van a possibility?
It really should have four-wheel drive.
Okay.
Well, four-wheel drive.
Right. If you have a 4x4 commercial van, you could put all this stuff inside the compartment, 2 seats in front, right? And then the rest of it is workspace. Okay, well, we'll have to see if such a thing exists. I don't know.
That's why you got that big Mercedes one, that's all.
Oh.
There was a tank.
You know how much that costs?
As much as you think.
The Metris? Is it the Mercedes Metris?
Whatever, their big van is, it's no more than the Ford one.
Okay. All right, well, we're gonna have to investigate it further, but trustee Sher is gonna make a presentation on it tonight. There's an opening round discussion. All right, so I think we're close enough. What time is it?
I know.
10 to 7?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. John, has anyone else appeared other than the initial persons who showed up on Zoom?
No.
Okay. Are there any other new members of the public? I don't see any members of the public having shown up for the public hearing. So that being said, I'm going to make a motion. Be it resolved that the public hearing on the preliminary budget for the Village of Tuxedo Park for fiscal year commencing June 1st, 2026 and ending May 31st, 2027 hereby be closed. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Tenari. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, great. Thank you. That concludes the public hearing. As we have a regular meeting scheduled for 7, we'll go off the record until that time. All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome back. We took a short break between the public hearing on the budget, and we are now going to commence our regular meeting. I call this meeting to order. Roll call's already been done, so it's the Pledge of Allegiance. So we'll move right to mayor's comments. Just a couple of matters. As I mentioned last month, our esteemed clerk treasurer has left the employ of the village. Elizabeth Dougherty has moved on to a position closer to her home in the village of Monroe, where she's the village treasurer. As a result, we have an empty seat that we are in the process of filling. We sought through that website Indeed, as well as posting the listing in various other places, interested candidates. We've gone through a series of interviews with those candidates, and we are now at the stage where we are doing background checks on those candidates who are most likely to be able to fill the vacancy. So hopefully, if not by the end of the month, then shortly thereafter, we will have a new clerk treasurer in place. And until such time, I would just ask the residents have patience in terms of the administration of the village. The clerk treasurer position is vital, and that we have a deputy clerk in Denise Spaltoff, but she does spend a lot of her time working for the police as well as the water and sewer departments. So that seat is essentially empty most of the time. So if there's something you need in terms of help from the village, please feel free to contact me. I don't want anybody to be left in the cold. If there's an issue you want addressed that would ordinarily go to the village clerk, you can reach me on my cell phone at 917-295-0632. Let's try to keep the calls during regular business hours unless it's an emergency. I've been privileged to have served the village since September of 2023, and I can proudly say I've never gotten a call in the middle of the night. And weekend calls are rare too. So we're looking forward to our new clerk treasurer when he or she arrives. Second item, I want to remind everyone that's got a lot of excess paper, and we certainly do at Village Hall, that there's a shredding event where we've made arrangements for a shredding truck to come on April 22nd. Now, the truck is only going to be here from 9 to 10, or as long as it takes to shred the documents. Feel free to drop off your documents either earlier in the morning or the night before. And we will ensure that every box or every bag of paper that you wish to dispose of is properly shredded before the truck leaves. So with that being said, I'll turn to the trustees. Deputy Mayor, any comments you'd like to make?
Yeah, just one, the residents should have received this week a letter. It's a joint letter from the town Tuxedo, the village Tuxedo Park, and you'll see both logos in the on the envelope, so you know that's what it is. And it is announcing the start of the Power Market Community Solar Program, which will guarantee savings on your electricity bill. So please take a look at that. Jim, you said you had a question about that, but you got the answer. Okay, good.
Trustee Tenari, any comments?
The only thing, you said it earlier, but since we're in the trustee comments, I want to thank Michelle for all her work as the assistant, whatever, deputy
Assistant budget
whatever
director.
director. I got to see firsthand on how much time it took. So,
Yes, well, thank you
Thank
for
you.
helping.
Okay.
and that's it.
All right, thank you. We'll now open up the floor to public comment. First, in the room, are there any members of the public who wish to make public comment? Professor Hayes.
I'm sorry to have missed the public hearing. I didn't realize it was at 6:30. I just wanted to say one thing. I know that it's one of the things that you're discussing is the replacement of the water truck. And there are differences. It's because of the way it's used. It could be an EV, but EVs are more expensive. But when you run the numbers, which I did, the EV, I have all the details, but I'll just give you the bottom line. The total savings for 10 years on the EV versus the Ford 100 Lightning, which is the EV, versus the Ford 100 gasoline engine. If you add up the savings in using electricity as opposed to gasoline, and the maintenance costs, which are much less with the EV, the savings over a 10-year period would be 16,500 to 19,000, somewhere in there. And considering the fact that the vehicle is used primarily in the park where the speed limit is 25 miles per hour, it will probably get better mileage than was used in this particular example. Now, the entry level cost of with the Ford, there are three levels: a mid-range, and a high level. The range for the gas at the entry level is 44 to 55,000, and the EV is 55 to 65,000. Mid-range, 66 to 77,000 for the EV, 55 to 65,000 for gas, and the high end is about 85,000 for the EV and 70 to 79,000 for gas. So if you dial in the savings due to running costs, which are less, and maintenance, which is substantially less, it comes out that the EV would be back, save money in the long run.
Thank you, Professor. As you know, that the item is regarding the purchase of the EV is on the agenda. Trustee Scherer is going to make a presentation, and you're welcome to stay and listen. I think we'll have a bit of a discussion about that here, but we won't be making any final decision tonight.
Okay.
So thank you for your comments. Is there anybody else in the room who wishes to comment publicly on any item? Okay, seeing none in the room, any member of the public on Zoom wish to make any comments about any issues of concern? The record should reflect that Trustee Scherer has appeared on Zoom and is now present at the meeting. He arrived during Professor Hayes's comments. Okay, for the record. All right. With that being said, we're going to move on and take. We're going to go out of order. Our village auditor, Andrew Arias, is present. His firm completed the audit of the village for the years 2024 to 2025. The report was issued within the last month or two, and we're privileged to have him here in person to basically give a summary to the public as to what his findings were, any recommendations he made in terms of the village's financial situation. So I believe, John, you're going to give him control if you already did. Welcome, Andrew. The floor is yours.
Okay, thanks. Am I able to share a screen here?
Yes, sir.
Here now, I'm not sure why I'm not able to share my screen. Let me hold on.
Well,
Also, I can send it to you.
No, I have it right here. I'm not sure why it's not sharing. You're not able to see that, right?
No.
Not yet. I
Yeah.
did make you a co-host, and that should allow you to share your screen. You might want to just give it a second.
Yeah, I'm not able. Oh, there. Hold on. Let me see now. Hold on. Can you
Uh-huh.
see that now?
Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to go briefly through the audit for the year ended May 31st of 25. First, we're going to talk a little bit about the funds, and then we'll go into some of the issues from past years and what progress is being made. Just start off, I always like to point out what we do in an audit. It's subject to government auditing standards, so a little bit different than a regular audit for a for-profit company. Obviously, we look at your financials. We also have to look at your compliance with laws and regulations. We have to assess your internal controls. And basically, we're looking at that to determine how much we can rely on those controls. And then we have to do risk assessments of significant audit areas. All this is really to determine how much work we have to do or how little work we have to do to come to our opinion on the financials. Single audit is required if you expend over $750,000 in federal money. That'll go up to $1,026,000. The village was not required to have a single audit this year. And basically, our opinion is just saying that the financial statements are fairly presented. So when you look at the audit report and we give an opinion, it means an outside user like a resident or a granting agency looking at those financials can feel comfortable that they're fairly presented. Going through the general fund first, your total fund balance is $2.57 million at the end of the year, increased $208,000 from the prior year. Of that $2.57 million, you have it segregated into a couple of pools. You have a restricted fund balance of $387,000, and that's related to donations that are restricted to specific purposes. And I know you had a couple of large purchases in fiscal 26, so you used up a good chunk of that money. You used 249 towards the 2026 budget, so you appropriated that to reduce the tax levy. And that leaves you with an unassigned fund balance of $1.92 million. And that's the number really the state controller looks at when they're looking at fund balances in municipalities. And that shows you the last 3 years. And basically what the benchmark is for fund balance is a percentage of your budget. And that's what the state controller looks at. Now, in a village, there's no statutory requirement, unlike a school that has the 4% requirement. You know, municipalities like towns and villages and fire districts have no statutory requirement. But the state controller will say about 10 to 20% of the subsequent year's budget is what they feel is reasonable. Now, obviously, that's torn between what they like, and then, you know, when you're obviously the credit rating agencies like you to have high fund balances. So it's sort of caught in a tug of war between the two of them. But that's where your general fund balance is. A significant portion of that this year had to do with the $96,000 in park donations that wasn't expended yet. It was all expended in 26 for the new playground. So that's what I was talking about. That was sort of an increase, but you'll see it'll go away in 2026 when the money is expended. You also earned the final portion of your ARPA money. So that ARPA money that the municipalities all received over the last few years, and you had to spend it down. The village did earn the last chunk of it this year. It was $61,538. The way the reporting is for ARPA, it all gets reported as federal aid in the general fund. But then wherever it's earned, the money has to be transferred. So in your case, $6,800 was earned in the general fund and $55,000 was actually earned in the water fund. So if you look at the audit report, you'll see that transfer from the general to the water of the $54,666 for the money they earned. If you look at the audit report on page 53, you can see a more detailed budget to actual of all the various account codes, the revenues and expenses, so to get an idea of how close you were to budget on all those lines. This is just a chart, gives you a 5-year chart. I always like to show these of the trends over the last several years of your total fund balance and your restricted fund balance. We always like to talk to municipalities. It's really all about trends. You don't like to see, you know, steep increases and decreases in your fund balance. You want to stay as level as possible. Your water fund at the end of the year had $2.4 million, an increase of $289,000 from the prior year. There is a non-spendable portion of that of $225,000, and what that is that's related to the loans to the sewer fund. Now, being that the sewer fund is in a deficit, they don't have the funds to pay that loan back yet, so it's classified as non-spendable and segregated from the total fund balance of the water fund. Once the sewer fund gets back into a surplus, then that becomes part of the regular fund balance. The water fund did not appropriate anything in the 2026 budget, and at the end of the year had an unappropriated fund balance of over $2 million. And you can see you have a very significant fund balance in your water fund. $25,000 budgeted transfer to the general, and a $55,000 in federal ARPA revenue earned. And for the water fund, you can look on page 54 of the report for the detailed budget to actual revenue and expenditures of your water fund. And there's your water fund balance over the last several years. Been pretty steady, going up a little bit the last couple of years. Now, the sewer fund is the one that's a little bit of a problem. You have a fund deficit of $121,000 at the end of 2025. It decreased about $70,000 from the prior year. And currently that's being financed with loans from the water fund. That's loaning money to cover that deficit. Now, what's driving the deficit is the actual billings have been about $90,000 less than what you've been budgeting the past 2 years. So, you know, we always talk about when budgeting, you never really want to over budget revenues or under budget expenses, because that's what it leads to. It leads to deficits.
Can I just interrupt for a second? When you say actual billing, so you're talking about receipts, that the money, receipts to the village, or you're talking about what we actually send out in terms of billings?
What you actually build.
Okay, not necessarily what we receive. So this doesn't consider arrears by anyone.
Well, no, it does, because if it's owed to you, it's showing up as a receivable. It shows up on your records as water receivable, and it gets re-levied on a tax levy anyway. It's not collected, so you will eventually get it. So this is based on what's actually getting billed out. So what's being budgeted and what's actually being billed out, there's about a $90,000 spread in there each of the last couple of years.
And we have people that are adding meters so that they're reducing their sewer bills. Right? Because
Yes,
before,
there are
When it was set up-
irrigation systems,
yeah,
and they get a reduction in their sewer bill, yeah.
so that hasn't caught up to the budget. But
Now,
did
it looks
this
like
year.
in 26, it was similar in the budget, but I did look forward in the 27 budget. It does appear that the revenue line in the sewer is more in line with what the revenues have been for the last few years. So that's really the first step on the sewer side, is to get those revenue budgets in line.
Right,
The expense side has been fairly accurate. So your expense budget in your sewer fund's been okay. It's really the revenue side that's been driving the deficit. If you look at your budget to actual reports on page 55, you can see in the sewer fund all of the various accounts and how they are as compared to the budget. And there's your sewer fund. So it's only been around for a few years. It's not, uncommon when you have a new district that it takes a couple of years to really get the budget in line. So sometimes you'll see big increases in fund balance in the beginning, and sometimes you'll see big decreases. But at some point, you sort of want to get a grip on, what your billings are going to be and what your expenses are going to be, and obviously get them to be about the same.
Goes into your taxes.
Does it? Really?
And this is a chart showing pretty much what I just said, just puts all the funds next to each other. You can see sort of the last 3-year trends of what the fund balances look like and what you have in restricted fund balance in those funds. Now, the village did receive an unmodified opinion on the financial statements. The last couple of years, it's been qualified based on the escrow accounts. We were able to do enough work this year to document the balance in those escrow accounts that we feel comfortable that it's not going to materially misstate the financial statements as a whole. So we're able to remove the qualification and give you a clean, unmodified opinion. However, you should continue to work on reconciling the escrow accounts. They're not perfect. They're not perfectly reconciled, but certainly much better than they were in past years. Elizabeth did provide a schedule of all of the escrow accounts, and we were able to reconcile that to the cash balances, as well as test some of the activity in those schedules to make sure that's what's actually happening in the general ledger. In the prior year, you had 4 material weaknesses in internal control. And that's a deficiency that gives a reasonable possibility that a material misstatement will not be prevented or detected on a timely basis. So obviously you're trying to avoid those kinds of internal control issues. In the current year, 2 of those were addressed and 2 of them are still reported in the audit report. One of the material weaknesses had to do with the class accounting, where there were unbalanced classes in the financial reports. And that happened where, for instance, if you do a transaction and you note it as coming out of general funds cash, but you post it as a sewer fund expense, then it crosses over funds and it results in unbalanced classes. That was corrected in 2025. So all of the classes did balance and all the activity was within the right funds. The tracking of the activity in the escrow accounts also, I removed that from the material weakness because it was much better in 25. No longer reported as a material weakness, but it's still in the management letter. I will point out that it's not uncommon for municipalities who run these escrow accounts to have these issues in reconciling the escrow accounts at the end of the year. And it's a common finding we have that they don't have an accounting that matches exactly what the cash in the bank is. And so you should just continue to work on that. Make sure you're tracking those balances. The 2 things that remain in the report, the bank reconciliations and the interfund balances, still a material weakness in 25. I will point out that a large portion of those variants had to do with one specific transaction. It had to be with the way the water and the sewer rents were being posted when they were collected. And that's because the money all goes into the water fund bank account, then it has to get transferred over to the sewer fund. And there was a double posting of the cash and the interfund transfers for a significant amount of transactions. I did discuss with Elizabeth how to properly post those. I did take a look into your 2026, and it looks like in the sewer fund they're being properly posted this year. I will point out, Elizabeth, I don't know if you're still taking a peek or not, but there were just a couple of transactions in March that seemed to be getting done the old way. Not a significant amount. It was a total of like $5,000, but somebody could take a look at that. But for most of the year, that seems to have been addressed in terms of way that transaction is being posted. And many of the old outstanding items that were cleared from the bank reconciliations. So it was better in 25 than 24, but still not at a point where we could say that they were good bank reconciliations. I did look again in 26, and I have to say that it looks like those bank recs look better in 26. A lot of the old items that shouldn't be on them have been cleared out of them. And they look like true bank recs with just outstanding checks and deposits in transit and not a lot of old stuff in there. Now, of course, without going in and seeing whether they reconcile to the accounting records, I can't say for sure how accurate they are, but at least they look like bank reconciliations. The outstanding checks look like recent checks, what it should look like. So I'm hopeful that some of this stuff is being cleaned up in fiscal 26. So just in closing, the healthy fund balances you have in your general and water fund. So it's a good thing you do have very strong fund balances there in the village. The sewer fund deficit just has to be addressed through the budget process. And basically, you really have two options: increase your revenues, decrease your expenses. So whichever way the board can do that in terms of the budget process to at first get the sewer fund to at least have a balanced budget where you're not continuing to go into a deficit. And then you can address digging out of the deficit.
Wow, yeah.
And then there's just some inactive amounts in the capital fund. I was going to go over that with Elizabeth. Perhaps I'll go over it, whoever the new treasurer is. As these old completed projects get done, there's not significant amount of money, but the money should be transferred back to the funds that originally financed the projects. So the money shouldn't just sit in that capital fund. Only money in that capital fund should be ongoing capital projects is what should be in there. So we'll try to work to get that cleaned up going forward as well.
Thank you. I just want to note for the record that we're working with a consultant with respect to new sewer and water rates.
Yes.
And we will have public hearings on that. We understand that the sewer fund is in deficit and we have to correct that. We also understand that we have way too much money in the water fund, but there are capital improvements that are planned, and we'll be discussing whether we should spend down a little bit of that money on these major capital improvements involving replacements of water mains and the like.
Well, Andrew, I think I showed you the debt schedule that we're looking at. In the fall, we're going to issue 3.7. No, I'm sorry, 2.7 million for water projects and another 1.7 the following year. So what we're thinking of right now is using that money to subsidize the debt service. Because the debt service is going to go from 135,000 a year to 450,000 a year.
Water fund, that
So,
water fund
right,
money, yeah.
Yeah,
we
just
looked
pay
at
cash
that.
for some of it,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm sorry?
Just pay cash for some of it instead of financing.
Or, yeah, but also true, yeah, to lower the amount of debt service.
Right. I've seen that with some municipalities who have big fund balances and they got to borrow 3 million. So instead they'll borrow 2 million and they'll use $1 million towards it.
Right.
Yeah,
And that's really up to you. Just got to be careful. You don't use too much of that cash. You don't want to, with new
Right.
big debt service payments coming, you don't want to use too much of it. But that's really up to the board to decide what they feel comfortable and how they want to do it.
Yeah, that increase, if we just bond it out, will be about 300,000 a year
Debt service.
increase.
Yeah,
So if
okay.
we have $1.5 million, you want
Is that 300, is that interest only or is that total debt service?
total debt service. Projected, obviously.
All right. Any other questions from any board members? Trustee Shara, I know you're on Zoom. I had a chance to see the presentation. Any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
All right. Anybody else?
I would just say, thanks, Andrew. We're gonna have a employment change here soon, so we'll definitely ask you to spend some time with the new treasurer to catch him or her up and with an eye towards correcting the two open issues. But thanks to Elizabeth for making a lot of headway.
No, thank you both.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks so much.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
Yep. Okay. Take care.
Okay. All right, getting back to the regular meeting, we move on to reports. The court report was attached in writing. So the first live report comes from our police chief, Alan Faust.
Good evening. The police department for the month responded to 169 calls, had 2 criminal cases. 1 property damage auto accident, they issued 3 tickets, 15 warnings, 4 fire alarms, 10 burglar alarms, 4 medical calls, 6 oil requests. They patrolled 2,547 miles and approximately 663 vehicles per day. Also, an update on the camera project. It looks like they're gonna come next week. At the end of the week, they're gonna do it probably the 28th and the 29th for that. And the other
That's
thing-
at the north gate, the employee entrance.
Correct, and the upgrades in the other parts of the village,
Okay, great.
upgrading our system. We're gonna be using mostly the grant funding we had obtained through the law enforcement tech grant, and just the other part that we discussed that would be funded by the village. And also what we asked me about the coyotes
Yes.
before that was they didn't kill a dog. They said they were possibly chasing the dog on our property, but just that
It's a game of telephone that's played in the village where residents and friends call each other and chasing the dog becomes killing the dog.
Oh,
And
you heard some,
what?
dog, you heard a dog got
We heard it. We heard a dog was killed and eaten, and now the dog was chased only. But so I can get a sense.
And the reality is they were just playing together.
Also, I mean, a few people have called in the past about their coyote concerns, but there's a study, from the DEC, and surely where we are with that is that there's no problems. It seems like it goes like from a 1 to a 4, and
Yeah.
we're surely at the lowest. They're not acting aggressive and really towards people, but just another thing, just for people with bird feeders and stop feeding other animals because that's bringing the coyotes in. So a little bit better education on some of the residents, and stopping some of that stuff should help out too.
Yeah.
And just keep your little pets inside, or just when you're not outside with them.
That's right. That's right. That's the key. Your little pets and your babies. Don't leave any babies on the porch. I have a question for you. You did note that there were 2 criminal matters. Could you tell us what the nature of those criminal matters were? I mean, people like to know just generally.
They're both up. I think both of them were domestics.
Okay. All right.
Incidents in the park.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Trustee Shara.
So, Chief, as you may know, I run quite a bit on the roads in the park. And a lot of our residents use the park roads to walk around the lake, get exercise, run like I do. I'm always surprised and honestly disappointed by the number of people that are speeding in the park. It's dangerous. These roads are used by our kids, obviously by adults, to cycle and to exercise. And I'm just like surprised that we have only 15 warnings and 3 tickets. And it's not accusatory. I'm just curious, like how you view all of that. Is it difficult to enforce? Have you seen it getting better? I feel like people are strategic about where they speed, where they know the police aren't going to be. I find it very frustrating because, not only are these people playing with other people's lives, they're candidly playing with their life. If they hurt someone, they are going to change the trajectory of their life. So how do we help people be better?
Absolutely. If you want to just get in touch with me, and many of the roads that you have the most concerns on, let me know, and we'll make sure we'll increase the presence on those roads also. Part of the problem too is, some of these roads being so narrow in other spots, there's really no place, for the police vehicles besides, their rowing patrol to sit and
Right.
run radar on some of the roads. It makes it a little tougher. And of course, to issue the speeding ticket, usually it has to be approximately 5 miles over the speed limit to really to be able
That's the
to prosecute it effectively. But You know, last month, a little, less on tickets. It usually has been more like, 10 or 15. But also,
Okay.
too, I think part of possibly our new, records management system. Still some are the tickets are being issued in tracks and some are on the new system. So that number, there possibly could be a couple more that should have been included for the month, but I would have to just check that out because some of them, they're not syncing up yet and it's taken a while for them to sync and get to the court. So that probably could have been a little higher too. Also, we're gonna try, with a lot of the landscapers and trucks, gonna try and set up a day probably in the spring here for a vehicle for truck enforcement and possibly get a DOT check. I've been in touch with somebody from DOT and the state police, and maybe we'll have them come in and do like with their scales and just do a check of the commercial vehicles, which could be effective also.
Yeah, I to be honest, I've never really. I think the contractors on the speed side are generally pretty good, but even when I'm driving, and obviously voted for it, I'm actually enjoying the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. You can actually enjoy, our beautiful scenery. But I have people like pulling up behind me.
Yeah.
They're obviously not going 25 miles an hour. I'm just like, where are you rushing to? Anyway, I could go on forever.
But yeah, well, definitely get in touch with me with any areas of concern, and I'll make sure I'll put a note out to patrol to step it up in that area also.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief. DPW Supervisor Jeff Foss.
Good evening. For the past month, we've been doing a lot of cleanups of all the village properties, all the triangles, water plant, sewer plant. We did the annual mowing down at the racetrack. We picked up leaves throughout the village that we didn't get to in the fall. We got a late start on leaves due to building the playground at the Weewat. We removed a lot of dead trees from the racetrack area.
Yeah, you guys did a great job on the racetrack. I have to say, that's a huge project. And I walk my dogs there, so I take them daily. And I saw the way you cleared that whole area, with maybe one or two machines. And I have to commend you on that work because have you driven past it? I mean, it is just beautiful. I mean, you did a tremendous, your crew did
good when it's mowed.
Yeah, you did a tremendous job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We repaired a stop sign by the big triangle. Somebody, the signpost was bent, so we put in a new signpost. We replaced a stop sign by the triangle. We replaced a signpost on the Pepper Road. All the yield sign at the intersection of Comfort that got knocked down over the winter. Patched some really deep potholes on Weewat Road over by the sewer plant. We cleaned up topsoiled and seeded a lot of areas in people's yards where we had water problems over the winter. Performed maintenance on all the lawnmowers, string trimmers, leaf machine, asphalt roller. Steam cleaned boats, took all the salt spreaders off the trucks. Cleaned drainage catch basins, closed the valve on Weewat Dam to bring the lake level back up to summer level. Water and sewer finished water meter readings for the first quarter, began installing seasonal meters, performed utility markouts. We shut off the water at 118 Tower Hill Road and replaced the meter over the winter. The cast iron tap on the bottom split because it froze. Also had Ross Valve Company rebuild 2 pressure reducing valves that we have in the pit over here by the Tuxedo Club. It controls the pressure that feeds the main that runs down here and behind the Weewat. And we had a resident on Laurel road that was experiencing very low water pressure. And it was due to the pressure reducing valves gunked up. They weren't working properly, so we had to have them redone. We replaced a valve on one of the filters at the water plant. We performed maintenance on the air compressor at the water plant. We repaired a broken 4-inch decanting pipe at the sewer plant. The line had froze over the winter. And I guess when it thawed out, or a piece of ice, it's a plastic pipe and it broke, so we had to dig that up and repair it. And that's it.
Well,
It's a lot.
yeah, residents have spoken to me about one issue, which is a difficult one, I think, to address. I don't know if you have any thoughts on this or thought about it. There's dead trees relatively close to the various rights of way. A lot of the dead trees are on private property. Some of the dead or dying trees are on public property. And there's been some concern that, I mean, we had one go down on East Lake Road yesterday, damaged the Habercorn gate, right?
God, somebody wasn't going through that.
I mean, and I think that was off private property, right? It fell without naming the property owner. I know who it is. So how do we deal with this threat, which is increased only, it's increased by time because the trees age, and it's increased by weather conditions. Obviously, wind, and once the leaves are on the trees, they're heavier and they're more likely to come down than it is in winter when the wind just blows past the empty branches. I'd like you to think about how we could address this. It's a large issue. It's multi-layered, but I think it's something we have to think about, certainly with respect to trees on public property, and then notification to private landowners whose trees appear to be dangerous.
Well, we do have a law that within 50 feet of the road, John, they're required to be taken down if they're dead.
They're determined to be dead and hazardous, yeah. But there has to be some.
If I see something obviously dead, I will let John know and he'll notify. But some of them, you don't, we're not botanists.
Yeah, we're not arborists, I understand.
So.
But as you note, this tree came down right across East Lake Road, and God forbid a car had been passing, and who knows what would have happened. So I think it's something we have to think about, how we address this issue, both with respect to our neighbors and the trees on their property, as well as we have a lot of public land here.
Yeah.
And that's our responsibility. We have to, maybe on public land, we might want to do a tree survey. So it's something we should think about. And go ahead.
What's the rule again with O&R, what they will take down near the road
If it's more than 10 feet
from
from
their
the
lines?
wires, they won't do it.
No, they will not. Okay, even if it clearly could hit it. Okay.
Which doesn't make sense to me. I mean, it's protecting their infrastructure.
Yeah.
But
Okay, any comments? Trustee Scherer, you first? No? Anybody here? Anything? Okay, great. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it. Good. All right. John Ledwith, you're up next.
Yes, all projects that are currently permitted have been proceeding pretty well. We've had some projects that have been a little slow, but no notable problems at this point.
I mean, there was some RFP meetings, right? With respect to some bids.
yesterday,
Oh, that was.
Yeah, why
Yeah,
don't
well,
you just?
yes, we were part of that. There was a non-mandatory pre-bid meetings for the 3 projects that are currently coming up. It's
And the 3 projects are.
the Mountain Road water line,
Yeah.
the water line and the prep work for the line going underneath Tuxedo Lake,
Right?
and also the SSES projects. So we sent out bid specs.
SSES stands for?
sewer system evaluation study, is it?
Yeah,
Because nobody knows. what it is.
it's more commonly referred to as the I&I project.
Okay.
Right.
It's the
Infiltration, yeah.
So I've emailed out plans to at least 3 or 4 contractors for each project. And we had our meetings yesterday. It was a non-mandatory meeting. I think only a few people showed up. for each
Yeah,
one.
I mean, for the Tuxedo Lake water main was one guy,
I mean, that's a big, these are big projects.
Yeah.
You'd expect more than one bidder on these projects.
Well,
Unless you have to have certain,
Yeah, I would agree, I agree with you.
yeah, I mean, you have to do the water main underneath the lake, they need certain skills or at least subcontractors that can handle that type of work.
Yes, and there are some logistical issues that really are best thought out while you're standing, at the site.
Yeah.
We learned yesterday that one of the companies needs to bring in some fairly large barges. The logistics of getting them in the village is kind of interesting, or may not be possible to some extent. So there's a lot of moving pieces here.
Yeah.
So, what's the matter? Once again, we've sent the plans out to a number of contractors. The bids are not due, I think, until approximately the second or third week in May. I think the bid opening is the 15th. And that will give Weston and Sampson hopefully enough time for them to review the bids and then make recommendations to your board probably the
Yeah.
following week.
I mean, the point being, we're working on major infrastructure
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
all right? And people, to the extent that they're not aware, we're telling them now, and I'll put something in my mayor's message. Major improvements in our water delivery system.
Is the RFP, does have like engineered plans in it already?
Oh, that's what I sent out, and I'll send them to you so you can all see them. Actually, if you want a copy.
And then the
It'll help.
bids that we're requesting back are fixed price time certain bids, or what's the structure?
They're structured the way Weston and Sampson felt they should be best structured depending upon the type of work. Once again, the work here varies tremendously. We have, water lines that are in the ground on Mountain Road, and we have a water line in Tuxedo Lake, which is under the lake. And then we have the SSES where there's required pre-work and post-work inspections to make sure the work that they're doing actually is working. So electronically, I'll send you all the bids. I think they've been structured the way our engineer feels they're best structured, depending upon the work involved.
And the meter work for is that
Well,
sort of
that's
separate?
part of,
Yeah,
that's part of the water line underneath Tuxedo Lake. The first step is putting in these 2 meter boxes, concrete boxes on each side of Tuxedo Lake, one near Jeff Voss's house. We also notified, and I did have one of the members of the the boat club attend the meeting. So they're aware of when they have to possibly remove their boats and how much room we need to do the work there, because it's more extensive than just a square box on a plan,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And we did have some logistical, discussion regarding that project, given the length of the pipe and the contours of the bottom of the lake and the practicality of coming up at the right locations and making things work. So there's a lot to it.
Okay.
There is.
Were there more bidders for the Mountain Road one? I mean, more
Interest.
interest, I should say.
You know, I'm
There
still-
were different contractors
Oh, there were?
for that, and then, so the Tuxedo Lake meeting was the first one, then it was the Mountain Road, so we had 3 or 4 contractors there. And then the last one in the afternoon was, the FSBS.
But I've sent the plans out to more people that showed up yesterday. And actually, I'm still getting requests today, so maybe I'll give you an update tomorrow on how many plans
Can we
went out.
post this on any municipal system or anything, or we just send it to people?
There's a lot going on here. All 3 meeting notices were posted on our newspaper of record. So legally, we're covered there, especially since we're going out to bond. Eventually, whoever does the bonding will request that this was publicly notified and all that. And we've been using a website called New York Contract Reporter. And about a week ago, I posted all 3 plans. And there's at least 2 sets of plans for each project. There's the actual bid specs, and then there's the technical drawings. And they were all posted on this New York Contract Reporter site just around a week ago. And that's how most of the contractors find out about these types of projects. It's the same thing we did for the Pond Number 3 dam and bridge, and that seemed to get enough attention. And then from what I understand, other agencies see these postings and word kind of spreads in the industry. And I think Weston and Sampson has also reached out to a few contractors that they feel comfortable with. So the word is out there. That's great. There's always other sites and other contractors, but we've gotten it out there as quickly and as broadly.
Okay, thanks, John. Any further questions for John on any of these items? All right, seeing none, we will move on. The water department and treasurer reports are attached to the record. So the next section is the approval of minutes. Oh, next section, of course, that I always forget is the motion, be it resolved that the board add all written reports to the permanent record. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Tenari. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Now we move on to the minutes. We have two sets of minutes. The first one being the grievance day minutes of March 12th. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees approve the minutes from grievance day on March 12th, 2026. And the regular Board of Trustees monthly meeting on March 19th of 2026. I'll make the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by the Deputy Mayor. Any discussion, changes, corrections, deletions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0, yes, of course. All right.
Mayor,
Yes,
I asked a question.
certainly.
Out of order.
That's
I
fine.
just wanted to ask the question of trustee Sher. I just wanted to know, are you going to recommend the purchase of the Ford 150 Lightning for the replacement of the water trucks?
I am getting to that. Are we
That's
It's
jumping?
on the agenda.
That's on the agenda. I think I mentioned that was on the agenda.
It-
He gave a yes, I'd go home.
Oh, well, I don't think that's fair but he certainly did the study and it certainly seemed like a positive. But more than that, I don't think it's fair to require him to state his position before we have a discussion. Thank you. We know you've recommended it and you gave us some details which are very helpful in terms of pricing and savings. So thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. New business. So, old business, I'm sorry. Discussion of the MV medical plan. So, I sent around to everyone the chart, so to speak, that I received from Marshall and Sterling. The first point I want to make is, and I think the deputy mayor mentioned it at the last meeting, is for our current plan, which is the MVP Silver Plan, for short, the company is looking for a 16% increase in premiums. And that hit us all pretty hard. I mean, it's an enormous increase in premiums. And the difference, according to their chart, and I assume it's correct, over what we're paying now is $33,033.12. So I thought it was worth looking at alternatives because the 16% increase requires a substantial increase in taxes.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I learned, I did not know this, but during the course of the interviews, I did learn, and correct me if I'm wrong, John, that there is no employee contribution for the MVP health plan. Or Elizabeth, if
That's
you
what we
know.
had heard.
Elizabeth was, she was it's her show.
Yeah, so there isn't, not from the Village Hall employees, but the unionized employees do
Oh.
make a contribution.
That's pursuant to a union contract and that
Right.
binds us all. But the Village Hall employees, and that would be John and Elizabeth and Denise, do not make any contribution to the plan. And that's sort of a consideration. So I would ask, and we don't have to decide tonight, we still have time. I would ask that the trustees look at the next plan down, which is the bronze plan, which would result in a savings of about $17,000 in annual premiums. There are differences, which I consider minor, in the benefits. There's 100% coverage after deductible for both plans, and there are certain other provisions. And I just think it's something that we should consider because while we do value our employees, but we have a fiduciary role with respect to our taxpayers to get the best bang for our buck. And somehow a 16% increase seems to me to be way over the top, even in light of 3 to 5% inflation.
Where's the 17? The one I have says $900 saving.
Here's our current renewal,
Mhm.
33,000 increase over current plan. And here is the bronze plan. in terms of the premiums.
But isn't this, uh,
I'm curious.
oh, 17 compared to the current
Yeah.
policy? Okay.
Yeah, it'd
I
be
thought I was-
17% less. It's an
Okay.
8% increase in our
Okay.
current rates, which seems, and in retrospect, seems like a bigger, a more reasonable increase in premiums.
I'm kind of curious. This is for all employees, 620,000.
Yeah, that would
No.
be for all employees, right? Yeah. And it includes, in addition to health, it includes dental, and vision. I think those are rather minor expenses, all told, in terms of premium.
So that includes police.
Oh,
Yes,
Okay.
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Includes police and night shift. Yeah, the 3 officers.
It's all of them.
That's everybody, yeah.
Okay, so we're saving 17 on just the MVP. Not-
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
not-
yes.
okay.
We're saving 17,000 on our village staff. That would be the savings. So it's,
Michelle, your numbers assumed that the renewal, the.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I have to do a deeper dive into that.
yeah, but it would, if we do go, it would be a savings.
Right.
Yeah. So I would ask that everybody study the chart. If you have any questions, we have contacts at Marshall and Sterling. I might even ask one of them to come to the next meeting. I believe, Elizabeth, correct me if I'm wrong, the plan has to be renewed by June 1st.
I thought maybe it was in May, but I think you can wait till the next meeting. But yeah, I thought it was in May, to be honest.
Okay, I thought it was June 1st, but okay, I'll be in touch with them. So we don't, if you have any questions, I'll try to bring someone on who can answer your questions, because health insurance is a complex topic, and none of us are particularly schooled in that, but we are schooled in cost and
Well,
expenses.
I'm just need a better explanation, like how much is MVP, how much is NISHIP in this total number?
Well, that, okay.
I mean,
I
don't know.
can't give it to you. I mean, as we're sitting here now.
No.
I can just tell you
I'm
what
not saying-
what the
come on,
savings would
not
be.
right
I don't know. We'll have to, we're not approving the budget tonight.
Oh, I
So-
know,
So
but-
we have issues with respect to numbers that have to be adjusted if we should move forward with this plan or the other plan and the savings involved.
Okay.
All right.
So, but someone has the breakdown between NISHIP and MVP and what the numbers are going to be.
Well, Elizabeth, I'm sorry to bother you on this point, but
That's okay.
do you have the total amount that the village pays for NISHIP and MVP somewhere in your files?
Yeah, I in the Excel, I have an Excel file for the vouchers. And if you go in there, it says vouchers, Village Hall, very easy to find.
Okay,
It has the NISHIP voucher and the MVP voucher. I think NISHIP is about, I don't know, $300 more per person per bill.
yeah.
It was something like that.
And is the billing monthly or quarterly?
Yes.
It's monthly?
Yeah, and we do have, just for the record, I don't know if it was clear from, because I didn't see what you distributed, but we do have an MVP option there that's 2% more than what we're currently paying.
Yeah, that is there, but the 2% option requires employees to start making co-pays
Oh,
at a substantial,
oh, I see.
Yeah. Do you want to pay $300 every time you
Yeah.
go to a hospital, or
Yeah.
$35 to a doctor, which you don't pay now? So I'm
Right.
trying to take that into consideration as well.
Right.
Yeah. So that 2% plan, at least from my perspective, it's not fair. It's not fair to
Yeah.
the employee.
Because I thought that the health expense account that we have was that we currently have is to help pay cover these co-pays. I thought we were already doing that. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I thought that's
Yeah,
what it was.
well, there are no co-pays now, right?
But then what's that health expense reimbursement?
Health services account, John? Health,
There is a separate account to cover
yeah.
co-pays and maybe something more.
If there are co-pays.
If there are,
They're out
yes.
of pocket, essentially.
Yes.
To cover out-of-pocket expenses, yes, there is a separate account.
And that's what a
Fund.
copay is. It's an out-of-pocket expense.
I understand, but we have
Right.
no idea as we're sitting here now what the health HSA amount is for each employee, or God forbid an employee becomes ill and has a lot of copays, whether the HSA will cover it in total. it just requires a lot more work to go with
Right.
this 2% increase.
Right.
Right now, it's relatively simple. And we'll have to talk further about it, but we want to give you the best possible plan. At the same time, we want to be fiduciaries and not, understand that a 16% increase is kind of shocking.
Yes, it is.
Is that across, do we know if it's across their whole network or we're in some?
I have not asked if we're unique. I have not asked if the increase is unique to us. No. All right. So we'll make a decision next month on this renewal. The Cooper Arias audit report was already taken care of by Mr. Arias. The next item on new business is the fiscal year budget approval. That is being tabled until next Thursday at 7 p.m. when we will have a special meeting to approve the final budget. Item after that, add employee to add plus 30 rider to medical insurance policy. Elizabeth.
That we would table until you do the medical insurance renewal.
Right.
Yeah.
Tabled until the renewal. Next item is an interesting item. I met with Gardner Hempel and the chief of the Tuxedo Fire Department, and I believe I sent everybody the letter requesting authorization to hold a drill on Tuxedo Lake. I don't know whether you saw it. Let me just pull it out. So this is an unusual request. No, not here. I met with the chief and they want to do a full life-saving drill with gas-powered boats on Tuxedo Lake.
That's Howard.
Yes, on a date in May, and an airboat, which it's going to be quite the show. Here it is. Okay. I'd like to read this aloud for the public so everybody understands what we're talking about, because it is a little unusual. RE Boat Safety and Rescue Drill. I'm writing to respectfully request permission to conduct a boat safety and rescue drill on Tuxedo Lake in Tuxedo Park. My name is John Bauer, Chief of the Tuxedo Fire District, and I'm coordinating this exercise with Ted Thiessen, Boatmaster at the Tuxedo Club. The proposed drill is scheduled for Saturday, May 2nd, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. The training will involve multiple agencies, including fire, EMS personnel, mutual aid response teams. And when they say mutual aid, they mean teams from other jurisdictions as far away as New Jersey. All right. So we have a lot of people. The Village Police Department, officials from the Tuxedo Club, and members of the Tuxedo Fishing Club. Our shared goal is to enhance preparedness and emergency response to ensure the safety of all residents and visitors by practicing coordinated response techniques in a realistic setting. We are mindful of the logistical requirements and reservoir considerations associated with this event. All participating agencies will adhere to established launch procedures and navigation protocols, and we will coordinate closely with local authorities to minimize disruption and safeguard the integrity of the reservoir. Should you have any questions, please contact me. In my conversation with them, they indicated there would be gas-powered boats, and there would be the kind of airboat you see in the Florida Everglades. And there would be a lot of people, including divers in the water, who would play victims and rescuers. So the question is, do we want this to take place in our reservoir? Are we comfortable with it? Do we need more information?
I think the gas powered boat's the only thing that I have a concern about.
Okay,
Could they do it in the Weewalt?
Huh?
that didn't come up, but that's a great suggestion. I know that they plan to use the Village Boat Club access, and they were going to go to the south end of the lake in relatively deep enough water so they could do the drill there. But in thinking about this, it's always a concern to have that kind of activity on the lake, even if it's for safety purposes. So,
Is there like a mandated training that they need to do, or is this like a nice to have? Like, what's the? what created this.
We've never had it
We never
done
had this,
before.
this is the first time. And it's gonna be, the plan here is a big drill. You're talking about dozens of people, on boats in the water. It's
Yeah,
Yeah.
not dozens, maybe a lot more, well, a few
Dozens
dozen,
of
few dozen people.
dozens of people on
And
boats.
vehicles,
Yeah.
and vehicles.
If we were to get comfortable with it, it shouldn't be on a weekend.
Right.
I think it's gonna disturb the peace and enjoyment of the community.
Yeah, I mean,
Even though I know it's for the right reason, for safety long term, it's gonna be disturbing.
Trustee Scherer, any thoughts on this? You are the liaison to the Lakes Committee.
Why our lake?
you're,
Is
We
it they
can't-
want the beautiful scenery as they saved each other? I mean, like, why us? I mean, it's a legitimate question. I mean, it feels to me like there are lots of lakes in the region. Like, why
Yeah.
do we need to
Lake?
use a lake which prizes cleanliness? You talked about, having gas powered boats. We don't have gas powered boats on our lake. It's our water reservoir. We have people that use the lake. I don't know. It seems like a big disturbance, and I'm not. Again, it's all for the right reasons, and I hate to be, hate to be self-centered about this, but we are fiduciaries. Like, what's in it for us?
This is
And
before
why our lake?
this is before the beach opens, right, in May? Or
Yeah.
One beach opens
Well, the
tomorrow.
beach opens,
Yeah,
the
yes.
Weewa Beach, if we were to
Yeah.
move it. So
What
I
about
guess
Weewa?
the question
I like
is,
that
should we offer Weewa? We're uncomfortable with the use of the reservoir. Should we offer Weewa, which may not be accessible to them? I don't know, because of the nature. There is a boat club, a fishing club, but the access is a little more difficult. Or should we just say, guys, we understand what you want to do, but we just don't see it as a viable option for our residents
Or reservoir?
and our reservoir, yeah. Anybody?
Should we offer the Weewa?
I personally would need more information about this.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people, how many vehicles, how many
Okay.
boats? Like,
All
what are
right.
they going to be doing?
That's
Are there
fair.
going to be flares? Are there
Can I-
drones?
Can I chip in a question from online?
Sure,
Are
Joanne.
are these boats being steamed? I mean, we have
Right.
real issues
Great
about
question.
introducing.
No
And
clue.
so you've got all these boats that are coming from other locations that don't have that protocol. It's quite concerning to me anyway.
You know what? I'm really happy you raised that, Joanne, because like when we do the regatta, those are properly cleaned and for good reason. We've actually done a great job, unlike a lot of other communities, of cleaning up our lakes, and we should want to keep them clean.
So the note did say that they would abide by our launch requirements, which is the cleaning. But I think maybe we tack that on to we don't feel comfortable in the reservoir. We would need more information to even consider the Weewa. And you would, of course, need to abide by all the cleaning and all of that. And I think you probably end in the same place that we all think we're going to end by just asking all those questions.
Maybe that would, yeah.
Okay, so how about who's coming to next Thursday's meeting? Are everybody here going to be able to make it?
So there's been a offline debate, Mayor, and it depends. I have a club board meeting that evening.
Okay,
So it really just depends on how long we think that meeting's going to be. I can be late for the club meeting,
okay,
but I can't be that late.
all right.
So-
What time is your club meeting?
I think it starts at the same time, so 7
7.
p.m.
Okay,
Start-
why don't I ask Gardner and the chief to come and make a presentation to us and answer our questions next Thursday, because we have really serious concerns. I think that's the only way you're going to be able to make an informed decision. Is that-
Okay, but
is that-
I just said I can't be very late, so
No, I understand. We'll change the start. How about we change the start time, which
Yeah.
of the meeting to 6:45 or 6:30?
6:30.
6:30?
I think I can make that work. I know Matt cannot. If we can make it six
dial in now.
30, don't we have?
We need another in
Well,
person.
Josh is in person.
Are you gonna be in
No,
person?
that's what I'm talking about. I'm committing to being in person.
Oh, okay, great,
You'll be
okay.
going to
So
the-
how's 6:30 for next week's meeting?
Again, I'd like to be out the door at 6:55.
You know, there are two items on the agenda. One will be first, this request for the fire department. And I can't tell you that we're gonna get it done in 15 minutes. I'd like to, but it depends how they answer our questions and whether they satisfy your concerns or everybody else's concerns.
Can we ask them the questions in advance?
In advance, yeah.
You don't want to give them too much time to think about the answer.
And then
That's always a mistake.
and then the second agenda item, how long is that
Is
going
the
to take?
passage of the budget, which should not take
Yeah.
particularly long. It's 5 minutes at the most.
Right.
Okay,
Okay, 6:30 then we'll.
that's fine. Matt,
Okay,
I'll dial in.
this is for you.
Yeah, thank you, Josh.
okay, all right. So with that being said, we will table any resolution with respect to this. I will ask them to come at 6:30 on Thursday, the 23rd. Table to 6:23. Okay, the next one is an increase in the bond resolution. Deputy Mayor, I'll turn that over to you to
Yeah, did
explain.
did you receive a bond resolution written out?
I only have
does it
essentially a
say?
generic,
A generic?
yeah. I have nothing other than that.
Oh,
My attempt.
Yeah,
Oh,
no, it's
okay,
okay.
okay.
It's not really your job.
yeah,
In terms of
No.
numbers, I mean, you gotta put the numbers
the
in this.
number, yeah, is, we'll say, well, that's, I guess, a discussion. It costs $570 for the Pond 3 Dam, and if we want to use some of our fund balance for other capital projects, do we want to say 525 or 550?
Yeah, well, it's 250 now, right?
It is
It's
250.
250 and you want to raise it to 525.
Right.
So we can, so that's essentially
And
it.
I don't know if there's much more to a resolution than that.
Well, I guess we
Is
can look at Ian. Ian,
Ian?
hi, we appropriated, we.
Well, we authorized.
We authorized, a bond resolution for $250,000 and that work has already been done. It's essentially almost completed. And, for financial reasons, we would like to increase that bond amount from 250 to 525 to cover the same project. Because it turns out the project costs twice of what we thought it would cost. And we want to essentially cover all the expenses.
Well, it won't even cover all of it because it was 570.
Yeah,
but
well,
almost
most of it, most of it. Can that be done with a simple resolution or do we have to do something more than that?
My hunch is possibly something more. It just seems like a significant overage. So if you need an answer tonight, I'll text Jared on this one if he has some background. But yeah, I don't want to give you a wrong answer on the fly on this one.
Yeah, I think that's a good decision. We can wait till the May meeting because we're not going to issue the bonds until.
I think better to play it safe
Yeah.
on the
Okay.
end. That would be
All
my counsel. Yeah.
So give Jared a heads up that perhaps the deputy mayor will be calling him with to ask the appropriate procedure for increasing the bond amount.
Yep. I'll
Okay.
include
We have
that in
to
my report.
post it. We have to post it and all of
Yeah.
that, so.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Next item, we're getting towards the end. Part-time police officer Ken Sanford, who I believe was he once the chief here?
Yes, he
I
was.
mean, so has a long career with the village. He's resigned, or one could say retired. So we salute his service to the village over the decades. How long ago was he chief? Do you remember anybody remember when?
20
Approximately-
years ago?
No. I want to say 2015. Yeah, about then.
Okay.
He was an officer for a number of years
Yeah.
before that, and then he was chief for, I don't know the exact amount, maybe 5 years or so,
All right.
and resigned as a police officer, and then he came back to work part-time
Okay.
with a traffic guard.
All right, great. All right. Well, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees accept the resignation of part-time police officer Ken Sanford. We thank him for his years of service, both as an officer, as the chief of police, and we wish him fair winds and following seas, as they say in the Navy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by the deputy mayor. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is the presentation by trustee Scherer on the proposed purchase of a Ford EV F-150 Lightning.
Thanks, Mayor. I'll try and keep this relatively brief, and I guess, John, you're pulling up the presentation.
I'm trying to, just bear
Okay.
with me, it might take a, I don't know why it's.
Well, let me just provide some context first. This came out of a discussion that I had with Michelle and the chairman of the Lakes Committee, Jim Hayes, where there was discussion around the fact that we were looking at replacing our truck. Jim, not surprisingly, is very eager to decarbonize the village. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn or speaking for saying anything that he wouldn't say, but I think Jim would be in favor of going electric, even if it did cost the village more. I made it clear to him that I didn't know of any great gas replacements. He pointed to the Ford F-150 Lightning, and I said, you know what? Let me go do the analysis. He obviously did his own analysis, and again, I came at this from a very impartial, I don't know what the answer is, I just want the truth perspective. And it's just purely an analysis of cost. It doesn't take into account the reduced carbon footprint of the village, or candidly things that Jeff, who ultimately has to use it, might care about. So I've never driven an F-150. I own two EVs, by the way. I love my Teslas. But I have no idea from an operational perspective if an F-150 Lightning will do what Jeff needs it to do. So I think that's a good page to be on if you can just expand it and get rid of the sides.
I am.
So I looked at it from a total cost of ownership perspective. I looked at a new Ford 150 gas, and people might struggle with the terminology, but it's actually an ICE vehicle, which stands for internal combustion engine, not what you might get triggered by. So I'm going to call it ICE. Don't get triggered. So we looked at a new ICE F-150, looked at the cost of looked at a new EV Lightning 150, and then looked at used for both. And I ran it under a number of different scenarios, just took out, I just assumed we purchased it, so no financing, didn't look at that, but I looked at it under ownership cost over a 3-year period, over a 5-year period, over a 7-year period, and then over different mileage scenarios. I think I looked at it on 12,000 miles per year, 15, and then 20. I think John basically said 12 is probably the right scenario. I would probably argue that 7 years is the right time period as well. So I'll focus on that just to reduce the amount of analysis we look at. What's interesting, and it's really, and so what I did is look at it on a total cost of ownership basis. And it's important to understand what that means. It's purchase price less what the resale value, expected resale value is at any given period of time. So in a 3-year scenario, you'd be looking at what the expected resale value is at the end of that 3-year period. The cost of fuel, which in the case of an ICE vehicle is obviously gas. And we assumed roughly a $4 per gallon price there, insurance, and then also maintenance. Not surprisingly, the biggest driver of what I'll say is TCO, total cost of ownership, is really your upfront purchase price. And as you can see if you go to page 4, Jeff, what you'll see is, just keep going, 2 more. Yeah, right there. So what you'll see is like the most expensive vehicle,
I gotta go back. Yeah.
Yeah, too far. Go. Stop right there. If you look at it, like the new EVs are by far and away the most expensive. What's interesting is like a used EV is by far, so a brand new one is around 63,000. A used one is 37,000. What's really interesting is the difference between an ICE vehicle new and a used one. And we're using 2023 for the used ones, 2023 models, is really not that difference, that big of a difference. So the biggest driver here is what is your upfront cost? And Jim, I heard him at the tail end make the point. It's a valid point. Your maintenance cost for EVs is much lower. There's just fewer moving parts. You don't need oil. Like my Teslas, you just never need to replace the brake pads because they have regenerative braking. There's all sorts of benefits to it. And you also now have the additional benefit with gas where it is that it's cheaper to power up the vehicle with electricity. So let me just get to the punchline. If you look at page 6, John. Yeah,
Josh, before you go to that, I
Yeah.
can't help but noticing, could you turn back to the page we were on? The loss in value between
Yeah.
the new F-150 Lightning at
Yep.
63,000 and then drops to 37 versus the $45,000 gas model that really only dropped, very
Yep.
little. It certainly leads me to the conclusion that the loss of value of these vehicles is substantial.
Yeah, it is. And
Well, Josh,
and-
though, in the math, though, how much is residual value impacting TCO? Because I think maybe we
yeah.
just take it out, because when we sell these things, they're not, after working in a village for 5-7 years, they're not worth very much anyway.
Yeah, and I think that, I mean, candidly, I think that's reflected in the analysis. We could do that. I don't know that it's necessarily going to change the conclusion, Matt. In part because the forward estimates are taking into account
Are low.
they're taking into account use and the fact that, Mayor, to your point, what it would lead you to conclude, Mayor, is people don't want these used EVs for whatever reason. And so that either, if you're comfortable that the used Lightning can achieve the objective, you could view that as an opportunity, candidly. But yeah, there's a big discrepancy. There is a big discrepancy there. Just like jumping to, let's get to the sort of the punchline. If you go to page 6, there you go. So right here, you'll see like the worst possible investment we could make would be a brand new Lightning. And I think that probably reflects the residual value as well. The used and new gas F-150s are right on top of each other, which in my mind, by the way, would argue for just getting a brand new F-150. If you were going to go that direction. And then the marginal benefit you get in the early years from having the used Lightning expands over time. And that's really driven by maintenance, lower maintenance, as well as lower fuel costs. Keep in mind, we're assuming $4 gas stays in place over the period of time. We have no idea what's going to happen to electricity rates. We have no idea what's going to happen to gas. I honestly could make the argument that with all of the AI infrastructure that's being built, that if there's scenarios where electricity prices rise pretty dramatically as we struggle to fill the demand by that. But I will say, consistent with what I heard Jim saying, he said after 10 years, I look at it after only 7 years, but you do see that there's roughly a $10,000 total cost of ownership over that period of time. I think if you're amortizing it over a 10-year period and you're basically saving $1,000 a year, and if Jeff, who I'm guessing, because I can see him squirming in his seat, is uncomfortable with an EV,
it's not that I'm uncomfortable with an EV. It's just it's not a work truck. It's not suitable for what we need.
And this analysis does not pick that up. And so I think that's really important perspective. This is just, hey, on a piece of paper, it's a desktop analysis done by an investment banker who's never driven a Ford 150. I've never snow plowed. I haven't done any of that stuff. I'm just telling you, like, there's a marginal benefit to getting a used Lightning. I think if Jim Hayes were here, he would say you should get the 150. But again, I don't think that takes into consideration the practical needs that Jeff has. So,
But I think the big difference between Jeff's need, and we should probably just write out what the spec for a truck is and see what's out there and refresh the analysis. But I think the big difference is weight, because the big concern is when you weigh the truck down with all the equipment that John Bello needs, it has potentially an adverse impact on the battery life and the charge and the ability to function as for the use case. So
not only that, the truck, just the suspension and everything wouldn't be able to handle it.
Well, that's yeah. So there's all kinds of.
I read the analysis earlier. I looked at it, and first of all, you're comparing an EV F-150 to a gas F-150. What I need is an F-350.
Yeah.
So
and they don't have those. And they don't have those.
Oh, they don't have. Okay.
The 150 is a half-ton pickup truck.
Right.
The 350 is a 1-ton pickup truck.
Right.
That's the big difference.
Yeah, I mean, that right there puts a massive hole in this analysis, because there is no.
But hold on one sec, Josh, because the F-150 Lightning weighs 6,500 pounds.
Yeah.
Right.
By itself. And the extra payload it can carry is 2,500 pounds.
I think the GVW of a Lightning is like 8,800 pounds, where an F-350 is over 10,000 or 12,000.
Right, but that's I guess where I go back to is what is the spec for what we need for this truck? Like, we wouldn't buy a Lightning 150 for a plow truck, but what is the spec? What are the requirements for the water truck? I guess is where we need to start.
It needs to be a utility body, 4-wheel drive, heavy truck, an F-350, a Chevy 3500, a Ram 3500. That's a 1-ton. Not an F-150 or a Chevy 1500 or a Ram 1500. It has to be a 350 or a 3500
to carry the weight of the tools and everything.
And it needs a utility body with the compartments to, we store a lot of fittings brass fittings, wrenches, tools, meters.
But the utility body thing could be installed on any truck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
yeah,
more of a, can it handle it?
correct. Well, I don't know if it could be installed on a Lightning. I have no idea. I've never seen one.
I mean, I think it goes back to, you need a bigger truck.
Right.
The F-150 doesn't meet those specs.
No. No.
I think this was an important analysis to do, though, to give, our Lakes Committee chairman and others, candidly, comfort that, we're making good decisions. I apologize. I need to pick up a call that is pretty important.
Okay. Thank you for the work.
Yeah, thank
you
you.
for the work and the analysis, Josh. Appreciate it. Okay. Well, we can, of course, continue this discussion. So we'll move on to the next item, audit of claims and budget transfers. Anything we should know, Elizabeth?
Sorry, I had to unmute myself.
That's
No, I don't think there was anything particularly unusual this past month. Because
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Closing comments, public comment. Anybody? There's no one in the room who wants to comment. Anyone on Zoom? I don't see any members of the public other than the press, which I assume the press doesn't want to comment.
Maybe we should just make one announcement,
Sure.
that the Pond Number 3 bridge will probably be closed effective next Monday for at least a few weeks until they finish up that project.
Sure. We'll send that out actually, rather than it's nobody to hear it on Zoom. So
I could post it.
yeah, we'll it's next week. So I'll ask Denise to send it out tomorrow.
Sure.
Okay. So what are the 3 days it's going to be closed?
Well, it'll be closed effective next Monday.
Monday?
They didn't give me an exact time, but it might be a couple weeks.
It's going to be closed for a couple of weeks.
Well, they have,
To put in and remove the Jersey barriers?
well, it's not just removing the Jersey barriers. They have to straighten parts of the railing they installed last fall.
Okay.
And they're supposed to get the new material not until the middle to end of next week for the
Right.
railing. They'll need time to install that.
Okay.
So it might be a few weeks, but I just want everybody to know effective Monday.
All right.
it'll
We'll
be
get that
closed.
announcement out. We'll do it tomorrow. All right. No public comment from anyone. Any trustee comments? Final trustee comments?
Nope.
None. All right. At this point in time, there is one item to discuss in executive session. It involves a request for relief from a resident with respect to her water bill. So I'll make a motion that we move into executive session to address a resident's request for relief from her water bill. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Tenari. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, let's stop the recording. 4-6. Okay,
I have one more person to let in.
okay.
We're going.
Okay, we're back from executive session and there is one resolution, and I'll make the resolution. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees agrees to provide the following relief to the owner of 262 Tuxedo Road with respect to her request regarding her water bill. The Board of Trustees agrees to waive the penalties imposed upon her water bill, upon the water bill, for the third and fourth quarter bill periods. And that is the extent of the relief that will be provided, and the calculations will be done by Denise and provided to the applicant. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Tenari. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, be resolved that we adjourn this public hearing, this public meeting at 8:42. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by the deputy mayor. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all very
Thank
much.
you.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
See you all on next Thursday.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.